100 Civics Questions for US Citizenship 2025. Animated Interview Practice. Part 1, 115. Want to see more? Subscribe now and join our community. The office is neat and well lit, with sunlight peeking through the half-drawn blinds. A couple of framed diplomas hang neatly behind Anne's desk, and a pot of coffee gurgles quietly in the corner. Mark sits across from Anne, tapping a pencil nervously on the edge of a thick packet labeled US Naturalization Study Guide. Anne offers him a reassuring smile.
All right, Mark. Let's begin with your first 15 questions. I'll give you each question with 3 choices. You pick the one you think is correct, and I'll explain it afterward. Ready?
Yep, let's get started.
Question 1. Who does a U.S. Senator represent? A. All U.S. citizens. B. The people of their district. C. All people of the state.
I think the answer is C. All people of the state.
That's correct. U.S. senators are elected to represent the entire population of their state, not just a specific district or group. Each state, regardless of size, has 2 senators, and they worked to represent the interests of all the state's residents at the national level. Question 2. What does the president's cabinet do? A. Passes laws. B. Advises the president. C. Manages the military.
I think the answer is B. Advises the president.
Right again. The cabinet is composed of the heads of federal executive departments, like defense, education, and state. Their job is to offer advice and expertise to help the president make important decisions on policy, national security, and more. Question 3. What movement tried to end racial discrimination? A. Women's suffrage. B. Civil rights movement. C. Abolitionist movement.
I think the answer is B. Civil rights movement.
Exactly. The civil rights movement, especially in the 1950s and 60s, was a major effort to end racial segregation and discrimination, particularly against African Americans. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. pushed for laws to ensure equality in voting, education, and public life. Question 4. There were 13 original states, name 3. A. New York, New Jersey, New Hampshire. B. California, Texas, Florida. C. Ohio, Michigan, Illinois.
I think the answer is A. New York, New Jersey, New Hampshire.
That's right. These were 3 of the original 13 colonies that declared independence from Britain in 1776. They later became the first states to join the United States under the Constitution. Question 5. What are the 2 parts of the U.S. Congress? A. Senate and House of Representatives. B. President and Vice President. C. Supreme Court and Legislature.
I think the answer is A. Senate and House of Representatives.
Spot on. The U.S. Congress is bicameral, meaning it has 2 chambers, the Senate and the House of Representatives. This structure was designed to balance the interests of both small and large states in the legislative process. Question 6. How many justices are on the Supreme Court? A. Check at the time of your interview. B. 9. C. 7.
I think the answer is A. Check at the time of your interview.
Correct. Although there are typically 9 justices, the number isn't fixed in the Constitution and can change through legislation. So it's always smart to check the current number before your interview, just in case. Question 7. There are 4 amendments to the Constitution about who can vote. Describe one of them. A. Any citizen can vote. B. Only men can vote. C. Only landowners can vote.
I think the answer is A. Any citizen can vote.
Yes, one important amendment guarantees that all citizens, regardless of gender, can vote once they meet the age and registration requirements. This reflects the principles of equality and democracy in American elections. Question 8. When was the Declaration of Independence adopted? A. July 4th, 1776. B. June 14th, 1776. C. August 2nd, 1776.
I think the answer is A. July 4th, 1776.
Absolutely. On July 4th, 1776, the Continental Congress formally adopted the Declaration, announcing the American colonies' independence from British rule. That's why we celebrate Independence Day on July 4th. Question 9. Name your U.S. representative. A. Answers will vary. B. Joe Biden. C. Abraham Lincoln.
I think the answer is A. Answers will vary.
Exactly. The U.S. House of Representatives is based on districts within each state, so your representative depends on where you live. You can easily find out by searching your zip code on the official House website. Question 10. When must all men register for the Selective Service? A. 25. B. 21. C. 18.
I think the answer is C. 18.
That's correct. All male U.S. citizens and residents must register with the Selective Service at age 18. It's not a draft, but it's a system to be prepared if a draft were ever needed in the future. Question 11. What ocean is on the east coast of the United States? A. Pacific Ocean. B. Atlantic Ocean. C. Indian Ocean.
I think the answer is B. Atlantic Ocean.
Yes, the Atlantic Ocean borders the entire east coast of the U.S., from Florida up to Maine. Historically, it was the ocean crossed by early explorers and colonists arriving from Europe. Question 12. What happened at the Constitutional Convention? A. The Bill of Rights was written. B. The Emancipation Proclamation was signed. C. The Constitution was written.
I think the answer is C. The Constitution was written.
Correct. In 1787, delegates from the states met in Philadelphia to create a new framework of government. The result was the U.S. Constitution, which replaced the weaker Articles of Confederation and remains the foundation of U.S. law today. Question 13. What is one reason colonists came to America? A. To avoid cold weather. B. Freedom. C. To find gold.
I think the answer is B. Freedom.
Exactly. Many early settlers came to America in search of religious and political freedom, escaping persecution in Europe. This desire for liberty shaped the country's core values. Question 14. What did Susan B. Anthony do? A. Wrote the Declaration of Independence. B. Fought for women's rights. C. Served as president.
I think the answer is B. Fought for women's rights.
Yes, Susan B. Anthony was a leading figure in the women's suffrage movement, fighting for the right of women to vote and have equal rights under the law. Her efforts led to the 19th Amendment. Question 15. We elect a U.S. Senator for how many years? A. 4. B. 2. C. 6.
I think the answer is C. 6.
Perfect. U.S. senators serve 6-year terms, and elections are staggered so that about 1/3 of the Senate is up for election every 2 years. This allows for continuity while still giving voters regular input. Great work, Mark. You're mastering these quickly. Are you ready for the next round?
Definitely. Let's keep going.
Anne flips the page of her binder with a smile as the quiet hum of the office fills the space. 100 Civics Questions for US Citizenship 2025. Animated Interview Practice, Part 2, 1630. Join thousands of learners by subscribing today. The office remains quiet, the late afternoon sun now casting longer shadows across the room. Mark leans back in his chair, feeling a little more confident after the first round. Anne pours herself a fresh cup of coffee and offers Mark a bottle of water, smiling encouragingly.
You're doing great, Mark. Let's keep the momentum going. We'll move on to questions 16 to 30 now. Same format, 3 choices per question. You pick, and then I'll explain. Ready?
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
Question 16. Who is the Chief Justice of the United States now? A. Check at the time of your interview. B. John F. Kennedy. C. Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
I think the answer is A. Check at the time of your interview.
That's right. The Chief Justice position can change over time, so you must verify the current Chief Justice before your naturalization interview. As of recent years, it's been John Roberts, but always double-check. Question 17. Name one state that borders Mexico. A. Nevada. B. California. C. Oregon.
I think the answer is B. California.
Correct. California, along with Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, shares a border with Mexico. These states have significant cultural and economic ties with Mexico due to their proximity. Question 18. What is one right or freedom from the First Amendment? A. Bear arms. B. Speech. C. Trial by jury.
I think the answer is B. Speech.
Absolutely. The First Amendment protects many freedoms, and freedom of speech is a cornerstone of American democracy. It allows people to express their opinions without government censorship. Question 19. What is an amendment? A. A law passed by Congress. B. A change to the Constitution. C. A presidential order.
I think the answer is B. A change to the Constitution.
Exactly. An amendment is a formal change or addition to the Constitution. It's the way the country updates its founding document to address new challenges and protect citizens' rights. Question 20. Who did the United States fight in World War II? A. Japan, Germany, and Italy. B. Russia, China, and France. C. Britain, Spain, and Mexico.
I think the answer is A. Japan, Germany, and Italy.
Correct. During World War II, the U.S. was part of the Allied powers fighting against the Axis powers, Japan, Germany, and Italy. It was a global conflict that reshaped the modern world. Question 21. Why do some states have more representatives than other states? A. Because they are richer. B. Because they are older states. C. Because of the state's population.
I think the answer is C. Because of the state's population.
You got it. States with larger populations get more seats in the House of Representatives to ensure that representation reflects the number of people living there. Question 22. What ocean is on the west coast of the United States? A. Atlantic Ocean. B. Pacific Ocean. C. Arctic Ocean.
I think the answer is B. Pacific Ocean.
That's right. The Pacific Ocean is the largest and deepest ocean on Earth and borders the entire west coast of the U.S., including California, Oregon, and Washington. Question 23. What territory did the United States buy from France in 1803? A. Florida. B. Alaska. C. The Louisiana Territory.
I think the answer is C. The Louisiana Territory.
Correct. The Louisiana Purchase was a massive land deal in 1803 that doubled the size of the U.S., opening up huge areas for westward expansion. Question 24. Name one right only for United States citizens. A. Work in the U.S. B. Vote in a federal election. C. Pay taxes.
I think the answer is B. Vote in a federal election.
Exactly. Only U.S. citizens have the right to vote in federal elections, such as for president or members of Congress. It's one of the most important rights of citizenship. Question 25. What are two cabinet-level positions? A. Attorney General, Vice President. B. Speaker of the House, Senator. C. Chief Justice, Secretary of State.
I think the answer is A. Attorney General, Vice President.
That's right. Both the Attorney General and the Vice President are key members of the President's Cabinet, which helps the President manage the executive branch. Question 26. When do we celebrate Independence Day? A. July 1st. B. July 4th. C. December 25th.
I think the answer is B. July 4th.
Correct. July 4th marks the adoption of the Declaration of Independence in 1776. Americans celebrate it with fireworks, parades, and patriotic ceremonies. Question 27. Who was the first president? A. Thomas Jefferson. B. Abraham Lincoln. C. George Washington.
I think the answer is C. George Washington.
Absolutely. George Washington was not only the first president, but also a key leader during the American Revolution and is often called the father of his country. Question 28. Name one war fought by the United States in the 1800s. A. World War I. B. Civil War. C. Korean War.
I think the answer is B. Civil War.
Exactly. The Civil War, 1861 to 1865, was a defining moment in American history, fought between the Union, the North, and the Confederacy, the South, primarily over the issues of slavery and states' rights. Question 29. Why does the flag have 13 stripes? A. Because there were 13 original colonies. B. Because there are 13 departments in government. C. Because there are 13 military bases.
I think the answer is A. Because there were 13 original colonies.
That's right. The 13 stripes on the American flag represent the original 13 colonies that fought for independence from Great Britain. Question 30. What is the capital of your state? A. Answers will vary. B. New York City. C. Los Angeles.
I think the answer is A. Answers will vary.
Correct. Your state's capital depends on where you live. For example, if you're in California, the capital is Sacramento. If you're in Texas, it's Austin. Mark, you're doing an amazing job. 2 rounds down. Would you like to take a short break, or should we keep going while you're on a roll?
Let's keep going. I'm feeling more confident now.
Anne closes her binder with a soft thud and smiles warmly. 100 Civics Questions for US Citizenship 2025. Animated Interview Practice, Part 3, 31 to 45. Liking this video? Show some love and hit that button. The clock ticks softly in the office as the golden light of the evening starts to deepen outside. Mark stretches his arms above his head, energized by his progress. Anne glances at the time and smiles.
All right, Mark, you're doing awesome. Ready to jump into questions 31 to 45?
Let's keep it going. I'm on a roll.
Question 31. Name the U.S. war between the North and the South. A. World War II. B. Revolutionary War. C. The Civil War.
I think the answer is C. The Civil War.
That's right. The Civil War was fought from 1861 to 1865 between the Northern states, the Union, and the Southern states, the Confederacy. Major issues included slavery and states' rights. Question 32. What is freedom of religion? A. You can practice any religion or not practice a religion. B. You must follow the national religion. C. Only certain religions are allowed.
I think the answer is A. You can practice any religion or not practice a religion.
Correct. Freedom of religion is guaranteed by the First Amendment, allowing people to choose and practice any religion or none at all without government interference. Question 33. What are two rights in the Declaration of Independence? A. Life, liberty. B. Freedom of the press, the right to bear arms. C. Voting, owning property.
I think the answer is A. Life, liberty.
Exactly. The Declaration of Independence states that all people have the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These are fundamental principles on which the country was founded. Question 34. What is the rule of law? A. The government does not have to follow the law. B. Everyone must follow the law. C. Only the police must follow the law.
I think the answer is B. Everyone must follow the law.
That's correct. The rule of law means that no one is above the law, not even government officials. It ensures fairness and accountability in society. Question 35. What did the Emancipation Proclamation do? A. Declared war on Britain. B. Freed the slaves. C. Gave women the right to vote.
I think the answer is B. Freed the slaves.
Right. Issued by President Abraham Lincoln in 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation declared that all slaves in Confederate states were to be set free, a major step toward ending slavery in the U.S. Question 36. How many amendments does the Constitution have? A. 10. B. 27. C. 50.
I think the answer is B. 27.
Correct. There are 27 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. These amendments protect citizens' rights and adapt the Constitution to changing times. Question 37. Why does the flag have 50 stars? A. Because there are 50 states. B. Because there were 50 battles. C. Because there are 50 presidents.
I think the answer is A. Because there are 50 states.
Exactly. Each star represents one of the 50 states in the Union. As new states joined the U.S., stars were added to the flag. Question 38. When is the last day you can send in federal income tax forms? A. March 15th. B. April 15th. C. May 1st.
I think the answer is B. April 15th.
That's right. April 15th is the traditional deadline for filing federal income tax returns. If it falls on a weekend or holiday, the deadline might move to the next business day. Question 39. What is the political party of the president now? A. Check at the time of your interview. B. Democratic Party. C. Republican Party.
I think the answer is A. Check at the time of your interview.
Correct. The political party of the president can change depending on who is in office. Always double-check before your interview to ensure you have the current information. Question 40. What is the capital of the United States? A. New York City. B. Los Angeles. C. Washington, D.C.
I think the answer is C. Washington, D.C.
Absolutely. Washington, D.C. has been the nation's capital since 1800 and is home to the White House, Congress, and the Supreme Court. Question 41. The House of Representatives has how many voting members? A. 100. B. 435. C. 50.
I think the answer is B. 435.
That's correct. The House of Representatives has 435 voting members distributed among the states based on population. Question 42. What was one important thing that Abraham Lincoln did? A. Fought in World War I. B. Bought the Louisiana Territory. C. Freed the slaves.
I think the answer is C. Freed the slaves.
Yes. Among Lincoln's most significant accomplishments was issuing the Emancipation Proclamation and leading the country during the Civil War, preserving the Union. Question 43. Name one of the two longest rivers in the United States. A. Missouri River. B. Amazon River. C. Nile River.
I think the answer is A. Missouri River.
That's right. The Missouri River and the Mississippi River are the two longest rivers in the U.S., vital for trade, transportation, and agriculture. Question 44. What stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful? A. Checks and balances. B. Martial law. C. Supreme rule.
I think the answer is A. Checks and balances.
Correct. The system of checks and balances ensures that no single branch, executive, legislative, or judicial, can dominate the government. Each branch can limit the power of the others. Question 45. Who was president during World War I? A. Theodore Roosevelt. B. Woodrow Wilson. C. Franklin D. Roosevelt.
I think the answer is B. Woodrow Wilson.
Exactly. Woodrow Wilson was the 28th president and led the U.S. through World War I, later advocating for the creation of the League of Nations to promote world peace.
Anne flips the last page of her study binder with a satisfied look, as Mark beams with pride at his performance.
You're seriously doing amazing, Mark. 3 full rounds complete. Would you like to take a break or push forward to the next set?
I'm feeling good. Let's keep going while I'm still in the zone.
Anne chuckles and prepares the next set of questions, the warm energy of their session filling the office. 100 Civics Questions for US Citizenship 2025. Animated Interview Practice, Part 4, 46 to 60. Help boost this video. Like it if you're finding it helpful. The evening had settled in, and the office lights cast a cozy glow across the room. Mark shifted in his chair but wore a determined look. Anne refilled her coffee and gave him a thumbs up.
Mark, you've come this far. We're now heading into questions 46 to 60. Keep up the great work. Ready?
Definitely. Let's not lose momentum.
Question 46. How many U.S. senators are there? A. 50. B. 100. C. 435.
I think the answer is B. 100.
That's correct. There are 100 U.S. senators, with 2 from each state. This ensures that every state has equal representation in the Senate, regardless of its population size. Question 47. What major event happened on September 11, 2001 in the United States? A. The U.S. entered World War II. B. Terrorists attacked the United States. C. The Declaration of Independence was signed.
I think the answer is B. Terrorists attacked the United States.
Yes. On September 11, 2001, terrorists hijacked planes and attacked the World Trade Center in New York City and the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. It was a tragic day that deeply impacted the country and led to major changes in national security policies. Question 48. Who signs bills to become laws? A. The Speaker of the House. B. The President. C. The Chief Justice.
I think the answer is B. The President.
Absolutely. After Congress passes a bill, it must be signed by the President to become law. If the President disagrees with the bill, they can veto it. Question 49. Under our Constitution, some powers belong to the federal government. What is one power of the federal government? A. To run public schools. B. To print money. C. To issue driver's licenses.
I think the answer is B. To print money.
Correct. Printing money is a power reserved for the federal government to ensure a unified national currency. Question 50. Who is the Commander-in-Chief of the military? A. Secretary of Defense. B. Speaker of the House. C. The President.
I think the answer is C. The President.
Exactly. The President serves as the Commander-in-Chief, overseeing all branches of the military and making key decisions in times of war and national defense. Question 51. When was the Constitution written? A. 1776. B. 1787. C. 1812.
I think the answer is B. 1787.
Correct. The Constitution was written in 1787 during the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia. It established the framework for the United States government and laws. Question 52. What do we show loyalty to when we say the Pledge of Allegiance? A. The President. B. The United States. C. Congress.
I think the answer is B. The United States.
Right. When we recite the Pledge of Allegiance, we are expressing loyalty to the United States, its flag, its ideals, and its people. Question 53. The Federalist Papers supported the passage of the U.S. Constitution. Name one of the writers. A. James Madison. B. George Washington. C. Thomas Jefferson.
I think the answer is A. James Madison.
Correct. James Madison, along with Alexander Hamilton and John Jay, wrote the Federalist Papers to promote the ratification of the Constitution. Question 54. What did Martin Luther King Jr. do? A. Fought for civil rights. B. Became the first African American president. C. Signed the Emancipation Proclamation.
I think the answer is A. Fought for civil rights.
Exactly. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. led the civil rights movement, working to end racial segregation and promote equal rights through nonviolent protest. Question 55. Who lived in America before the Europeans arrived? A. Pilgrims. B. Africans. C. Native Americans.
I think the answer is C. Native Americans.
That's right. Native American tribes lived throughout North America long before European explorers and settlers arrived. They had rich, diverse cultures and traditions. Question 56. Who is in charge of the executive branch? A. The Speaker of the House. B. The Chief Justice. C. The President.
I think the answer is C. The President.
Yes, the President leads the executive branch, which is responsible for enforcing the laws passed by Congress. Question 57. The idea of self-government is in the first 3 words of the Constitution. What are these words? A. We the people. B. United States Constitution. C. Freedom and justice.
I think the answer is A. We the people.
Exactly. We the people emphasizes that the government's power comes from the citizens themselves, a fundamental principle of American democracy. Question 58. Who vetoes bills? A. The Senate. B. The President. C. The Supreme Court.
I think the answer is B. The President.
Correct. If the President disagrees with a bill passed by Congress, they can veto it, sending it back to Congress with reasons for the rejection. Question 59. Where is the Statue of Liberty? A. New York Harbor. B. San Francisco Bay. C. Boston Harbor.
I think the answer is A. New York Harbor.
That's right. The Statue of Liberty, a gift from France, stands proudly in New York Harbor and symbolizes freedom and democracy. Question 60. Name one problem that led to the Civil War. A. Industrialization. B. Slavery. C. Women's suffrage.
I think the answer is B. Slavery.
Exactly. Slavery was a major cause of the Civil War, as disputes over the expansion of slavery into new territories and states divided the nation.
Anne set her papers down and leaned back with a proud smile.
4 rounds done, Mark. You're crushing this. Only a few more to go, and you'll be fully ready.
Honestly, I feel way more confident now. Let's keep going.
Anne nodded, energized by Mark's enthusiasm, and began preparing the next set of questions. 100 Civics Questions for US Citizenship 2025. Animated Interview Practice. Part 5, 61 to 75. Struggling with any question? Comment below and we'll help. The office clock ticked steadily as Mark took a sip of water and smiled. The stack of questions was getting noticeably thinner, and he felt a sense of pride growing inside him. Anne adjusted her notes and beamed at his enthusiasm.
You're doing amazing, Mark. We're moving into questions 61 to 75 now. Getting closer to the finish line.
I'm ready. Bring them on.
Question 61. What are the two major political parties in the United States? A. Democratic and Republican. B. Libertarian and Green. C. Labor and Conservative.
I think the answer is A. Democratic and Republican.
Correct. The two main political parties in the U.S. are the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and they have dominated American politics for much of the nation's history. Question 62. What is the economic system in the United States? A. Socialist economy. B. Command economy. C. Market economy.
I think the answer is C. Market economy.
Exactly. The U.S. has a market economy, meaning that prices and production are largely determined by private businesses and consumers, not the government. Question 63. What are two rights of everyone living in the United States? A. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion. B. Freedom to vote, freedom to drive. C. Freedom to work, freedom to study.
I think the answer is A. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion.
That's right. Everyone in the U.S., not just citizens, has the right to free speech and the right to practice any religion or none at all. Question 64. What is the supreme law of the land? A. Declaration of Independence. B. Articles of Confederation. C. The Constitution.
I think the answer is C. The Constitution.
Absolutely. The U.S. Constitution is the highest law of the country. All other laws must follow the principles set out in the Constitution. Question 65. We elect a U.S. representative for how many years? A. 6. B. 2. C. 4.
I think the answer is B. 2.
Correct. Members of the House of Representatives serve 2-year terms, allowing voters to frequently hold them accountable. Question 66. Name one U.S. territory. A. Guam. B. Hawaii. C. Alaska.
I think the answer is A. Guam.
Close, but based on the answer you needed to pick from your list earlier, Puerto Rico was what we focused on. Question 67. Name one American Indian tribe in the United States. A. Vikings. B. Crow. C. Celtics.
I think the answer is B. Crow.
That's right. The Crow Nation is a Native American tribe primarily located in present-day Montana. Native tribes have played a vital role in U.S. history and culture. Question 68. Before he was president, Eisenhower was a general. What war was he in? A. World War I. B. Korean War. C. World War II.
I think the answer is C. World War II.
Exactly. Dwight D. Eisenhower served as the Supreme Commander of Allied forces in Europe during World War II, leading major operations like D-Day before becoming president. Question 69. What is the name of the President of the United States now? A. Check at the time of your interview. B. Donald Trump. C. George Bush.
I think the answer is A. Check at the time of your interview.
Correct. Always verify the current president before your interview, because this can change based on election outcomes. Question 70. What do we call the first 10 amendments to the Constitution? A. Articles of Confederation. B. Declaration of Rights. C. Bill of Rights.
I think the answer is C. Bill of Rights.
Right. The Bill of Rights contains the first 10 amendments and protects individual freedoms such as freedom of speech, religion, and the right to a fair trial. Question 71. How old do citizens have to be to vote for president? A. 16 and older. B. 18 and older. C. 21 and older.
I think the answer is B. 18 and older.
Exactly. Citizens must be at least 18 years old to vote for president in federal elections. This was established by the 26th Amendment. Question 72. What does the judicial branch do? A. Writes laws. B. Reviews laws. C. Enforces laws.
I think the answer is B. Reviews laws.
That's right. The judicial branch, led by the Supreme Court, interprets and reviews laws to ensure they align with the Constitution. Question 73. In what month do we vote for president? A. October. B. December. C. November.
I think the answer is C. November.
Correct. Presidential elections are held in November, specifically on the first Tuesday after the first Monday of the month. Question 74. What is the name of the Vice President of the United States now? A. Check at the time of your interview. B. Hillary Clinton. C. Mike Pence.
I think the answer is A. Check at the time of your interview.
That's right. Like the president, the vice president's name can change, so it's important to confirm the current vice president before your interview. Question 75. If both the president and the vice president can no longer serve, who becomes president? A. Secretary of State. B. Speaker of the House. C. Attorney General.
I think the answer is B. Speaker of the House.
Exactly. If both the president and vice president cannot serve, the Speaker of the House becomes president according to the Presidential Succession Act. 5 parts done, Mark. You're truly getting ready to ace this test.
I'm feeling better every step of the way. Thank you for making this feel so manageable.
Anne smiled, feeling proud of his hard work and determination as they prepared for the next set of questions. 100 Civics Questions for US Citizenship 2025, Animated Interview Practice, Part 6, 7690. Your feedback helps us improve. Leave a comment and share your thoughts. The night had fully settled outside, but the energy in the office was still alive. Mark glanced at the growing pile of completed pages with a wide grin. Anne flipped to the next section and nodded approvingly.
You're doing incredibly well, Mark. Now we're heading into questions 76 to 90. Just a little more, and you'll have covered almost everything.
I'm ready. Let's keep the streak going.
Question 76. What is one thing Benjamin Franklin is famous for? A. U.S. diplomat. B. First president. C. Civil rights leader.
I think the answer is A. U.S. diplomat.
Correct. Benjamin Franklin was a leading U.S. diplomat, helping to secure French support during the American Revolution. He was also a famous inventor and one of the founding fathers. Question 77. Who was president during the Great Depression and World War II? A. Woodrow Wilson. B. Franklin Roosevelt. C. Harry Truman.
I think the answer is B. Franklin Roosevelt.
Exactly. Franklin D. Roosevelt served 4 terms as president and led the country through both the Great Depression and most of World War II, implementing the New Deal and leading wartime efforts. Question 78. Name 2 national U.S. holidays. A. Halloween, Valentine's Day. B. New Year's Day, Christmas. C. Memorial Day, Mother's Day.
I think the answer is B. New Year's Day, Christmas.
Correct. New Year's Day, January 1st, and Christmas, December 25th, are both federal holidays celebrated nationwide. Question 79. Name 1 state that borders Canada. A. California. B. Texas. C. New York.
I think the answer is C. New York.
Yes, New York borders Canada along the Great Lakes and the St. Lawrence River, sharing a large international boundary. Question 80. Name 1 branch or part of the government. A. The Federal Reserve. B. Congress. C. The Cabinet.
I think the answer is B. Congress.
That's right. Congress is part of the legislative branch responsible for making federal laws. The U.S. government is divided into 3 branches to balance power. Question 81. During the Cold War, what was the main concern of the United States? A. Communism. B. Fascism. C. Monarchy.
I think the answer is A. Communism.
Exactly. The Cold War was mainly about stopping the spread of communism, especially from the Soviet Union, and maintaining democracy and capitalism around the world. Question 82. What is one responsibility that is only for United States citizens? A. Attend school. B. Pay taxes. C. Vote in a federal election.
I think the answer is C. Vote in a federal election.
Correct. Only U.S. citizens have the right and responsibility to vote in federal elections, such as voting for president and members of Congress. Question 83. What are two ways that Americans can participate in their democracy? A. Vote, run for office. B. Pay taxes, drive a car. C. Own property, travel abroad.
I think the answer is A. Vote, run for office.
That's right. Americans participate in democracy by voting in elections and running for public office to help shape their government and policies. Question 84. Who makes federal laws? A. The Supreme Court. B. The President. C. Congress.
I think the answer is C. Congress.
Correct. Congress, made up of the Senate and the House of Representatives, is responsible for writing and passing federal laws. Question 85. Who is the father of our country? A. Thomas Jefferson. B. George Washington. C. Benjamin Franklin.
I think the answer is B. George Washington.
Exactly. George Washington earned the title Father of our country for his leadership during the American Revolution and his service as the first President of the United States. Question 86. What is the name of the national anthem? A. America the Beautiful. B. The Star-Spangled Banner. C. My Country, 'Tis of Thee.
I think the answer is B. The Star-Spangled Banner.
Correct. The Star-Spangled Banner, written by Francis Scott Key during the War of 1812, became the official national anthem of the United States in 1931. Question 87. What does the Constitution do? A. Declares independence. B. Sets up the government. C. Establishes state governments.
I think the answer is B. Sets up the government.
Right. The Constitution not only establishes the federal government, but also defines the principles and rights that guide it. Question 88. Who is one of your state's U.S. senators now? A. Answers will vary. B. Joe Biden. C. Kamala Harris.
I think the answer is A. Answers will vary.
Correct. Your U.S. senator depends on your state. You should check the current senators for your home state before your interview. Question 89. If the president can no longer serve, who becomes president? A. The Secretary of State. B. The Vice President. C. The Speaker of the House.
I think the answer is B. The Vice President.
Exactly. If the president can no longer serve, the vice president immediately steps in as the new president. Question 90. What is the name of the Speaker of the House of Representatives now? A. Check at the time of your interview. B. Nancy Pelosi. C. Kevin McCarthy.
I think the answer is A. Check at the time of your interview.
Right. Always confirm the current Speaker of the House before your test, because it can change with elections and leadership shifts.
Anne leaned back in her chair, clapping her hands together softly.
That's it for part 6. You're doing fantastic, Mark. At this rate, you're going to crush your naturalization interview.
Thanks to you, Anne. I can actually see myself passing this now.
Anne chuckled warmly, pleased with his progress, and pulled out the next stack of questions for the final stretch. 100 Civics Questions for US Citizenship 2025. Animated Interview Practice. Final Part. 91-100. Tag a friend who needs this video. Share it with them. The soft hum of the building's air conditioning filled the office as Mark and Anne smiled at each other knowingly. This was it, the final stretch. The hard work, the focus, the momentum. It was all paying off.
All right, Mark. We're on the last set, questions 91 to 105. Almost there. Let's finish strong.
Let's do it. I'm ready to finish what we started.
Question 91. What did the Declaration of Independence do? A. Freed the slaves. B. Announced our independence from Great Britain. C. Established the Constitution.
I think the answer is B. Announced our independence from Great Britain.
That's right. The Declaration of Independence, adopted on July 4, 1776, officially declared the American colonies' break from British rule. Question 92. Why did the colonists fight the British? A. Because of religious freedom. B. Because of high taxes. C. Because of the weather.
I think the answer is B. Because of high taxes.
Exactly. High taxes without representation in Parliament was a major grievance that led to the American Revolution. Question 93. What group of people was taken to America and sold as slaves? A. Europeans. B. Africans. C. Asians.
I think the answer is B. Africans.
Correct. Africans were forcibly brought to America and enslaved, playing a tragic and crucial role in U.S. history. Question 94. What is one promise you make when you become a United States citizen? A. To travel abroad. B. Be loyal to the United States. C. To speak English only.
I think the answer is B. Be loyal to the United States.
That's right. When naturalized, you promise loyalty to the U.S., support the Constitution, and serve the country when needed. Question 95. Name one war fought by the United States in the 1900s. A. Revolutionary War. B. World War II. C. Civil War.
I think the answer is B. World War II.
Exactly. World War II, 1939 to 1945, was a major global conflict where the U.S. played a key role in the Allied victory. Question 96. Who wrote the Declaration of Independence? A. James Madison. B. Thomas Jefferson. C. John Adams.
I think the answer is B. Thomas Jefferson.
Correct. Thomas Jefferson was the principal author of the Declaration, drafting the powerful words that define American ideals. Question 97. Under our Constitution, some powers belong to the states. What is one power of the states? A. Print money. B. Give a driver's license. C. Make treaties.
I think the answer is B. Give a driver's license.
Right. Issuing driver's licenses is a power reserved for individual states, not the federal government. Question 98. Who is the governor of your state now? A. Joe Biden. B. Answers will vary. C. Kamala Harris.
I think the answer is B. Answers will vary.
Exactly. Your state governor depends on where you live, so you need to check the current governor before your interview. Question 99. We elect a president for how many years? A. 2. B. 6. C. 4.
I think the answer is C. 4.
Correct. U.S. presidents are elected for 4-year terms with the possibility of serving 2 terms. Question 100. What is the highest court in the United States? A. Federal Court. B. The Supreme Court. C. Court of Appeals.
I think the answer is B. The Supreme Court.
Absolutely. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the nation, with the ultimate authority to interpret laws and the Constitution.
Anne smiled warmly, but before Mark could relax, she tapped her pen playfully on the table.
Since you're doing so well, let's push a little extra. I have 5 bonus questions for you. Let's call it graduation practice.
Bring it on. I'm ready.
Question 101. What year was the Constitution ratified? A. 1789. B. 1787. C. 1791.
I think the answer is A. 1789.
Correct. The Constitution was ratified in 1789 after being written in 1787. Question 102. Who is known for drafting the U.S. Constitution? A. Thomas Jefferson. B. James Madison. C. John Hancock.
I think the answer is B. James Madison.
Exactly. James Madison, often called the father of the Constitution, played a pivotal role in its drafting and promoting its ratification. Question 103. What U.S. document begins with "We the People"? A. Declaration of Independence. B. Constitution. C. Articles of Confederation.
I think the answer is B. Constitution.
Right. "We the People" signifies that the government's power comes from the citizens, not a king or dictator. Question 104. What is the minimum voting age in the United States? A. 16. B. 21. C. 18.
I think the answer is C. 18.
Correct. The 26th Amendment guarantees that citizens 18 and older can vote. Question 105. How many branches are in the U.S. government? A. 2. B. 4. C. 3.
I think the answer is C. 3.
That's right. The three branches are legislative, executive, and judicial, providing a system of checks and balances.
Anne set her notes down and leaned back, giving Mark a standing ovation.
Mark, you did it. You've mastered all 105 questions. I'm so proud of your effort and focus.
Honestly, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Anne.
They shared a moment of celebration, knowing the next stop for Mark would be his naturalization interview, with confidence and pride.